Okay, guys, thanks for jumping online. Just want to get a quick wrap around of the major issues happening in our regions of Asia Pacific and EMEA. Bhargav, I might just start off with you. Any major issues happening in Europe?
Yes, Paul. Apparently, there's some good news after all for business environment in the United Kingdom. Ford seems to be interested in investing over $300 million in manufacturing electric components for the electric cars. However, I must wonder here, will they survive in the competitive European market? No other car company in Europe has survived who are actually from the US. Ford is the only successful American car company. At the same time, there are other troubles brewing for businesses in Europe, actually, mainly in Italy. The green passes for COVID-19 regulations instituted by the government seems to be causing trouble amongst the workers in the port of Trieste in eastern Italy, closer to the border with Slovenia and Croatia. So businesses with interest in the ports region, especially in eastern Italy and southern Italy, need to watch out for similar protests and labor union issues. If we look a little towards the north, Netherlands, which seems to be always quiet, but seems to have more protests and riots coming up in north and south of the country. What's causing all this drama in the country is the housing issues as well as some football matches. Football matches doesn't seem to lay down whatsoever. I mean, it keeps causing one problem or the other, whether it's World Cup qualifiers or even a local match. People do not seem to really get over their defeat. Paul, that's pretty much it from Europe. Any comments?
Yeah, look, on the Italian issues could escalate. They've threatened to close all ports if the government doesn't sort of heed their warnings. So I think we need to monitor that closely. I also noticed on the football front that Wembley's been banned as a facility because of the violence after the is it the European League? I'm not a football guy, but the European Championships. So not sure what that's going to affect our clients. So Uday, could you just brief me on a couple of issues in South Asia to keep an eye on?
Yeah, sure, Paul. So we have a lot of religious violence in Bangladesh. The alleged desecration of a religious text has set off a wave of violence and unrest that has spread across the country, and this includes Dhaka. And it's also spread to India. We have protests and unrest in Assam and West Bengal. So it's a very tense situation because it's a sensitive issue, and security forces are challenged in maintaining security. If we jump over to Pakistan, there's also a series of anti-government protests held mainly by opposition groups, but the opposition groups in Pakistan are quite weak, and the ruling government is quite in an entrenched position. So they're just trying to make noise and get support for themselves, but it's not really going anywhere at this point. I'd just like to add one point about Afghanistan, Paul, is that the security situation is still volatile over there. There was an explosion in Jalalabad yesterday, which is likely by the Islamic State. And Russia has also really issued statements recently saying that they're very concerned about it. And they started large-scale military drills yesterday near the Tajikistan-Afghanistan border.
Okay, thanks. Bhargav, that the Islamic State tensions and the Islamic State problem is going to amplify the divisions within the Taliban. And the Islamic State competing against the Taliban's desire to try and show that they can manage the government, something we need to look at closely, and I'll brief you on that in a day or so, okay? But there's a few pending operational tasks there, so I need to chat with you about that offline. Basil, Middle East and Africa?
Certainly, Paul. So we have some developments in the Middle East, especially in Lebanon. As we all know, a while ago, maybe like 2 to 3 days ago, there were armed clashes in Beirut between two political parties, in the area that started the civil war in 1975. So there is political tensions, political turmoil in the country, and a security crisis. Several accusations are popping up between the two political parties, which is the Christian-affiliated Lebanese forces and the Iranian-backed Hezbollah. At the same time, Arab countries have banned have warned their citizens actually from going to Lebanon, especially Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, in spite of the country's challenges. For Africa, we have two major developments. The first is in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A new Ebola breakout is happening in the Beni city in the North Kivu province. The problem is that this city in itself had a similar outbreak that happened in 2020 that killed a lot of people, and another Ebola outbreak is expected to happen in this city by the WHO, the World Health Organization. So the cases are now around 5, including 2 deaths. In Ethiopia, the military airstrikes are continuing, especially in the Mekele region, which is the capital of the TPLF, which is the People's Liberation Front in the Tigray region. The conflict is resuming between the Tigray forces and the Ethiopian forces. It is good to note also that the Ethiopian government has labeled the TPLF, which is the People's Liberation Front, as a terrorist organization.
Okay, those are great. Thanks. And look, in Southeast Asia, guys, we've got various demonstrations occurring over the last few days in Jakarta, some from migrant workers, some about inflationary pressures. We've had a couple of shootings recently by security forces, one in Wamena about a week ago, and another one in the Freeport mining area. Allegedly, they were illegal panners and a security operation to clear panners. We believe, we're not 100% certain about that, but it appears to be that way. We've also had some people injured and arrested from marching in Mandalay, which is north of Yangon, a few hours. So there's quite a lot happening, but again, COVID's dominating the news, and various countries are trying to open up. Singapore's opened up various travel lanes in, so it's extended from Germany and Brunei. It's added several other countries where people can fly into Singapore now with a PCR test before coming and on arrival and proof of vaccinations. The Thai opening is becoming a bit of a laughing stock, where they've cancelled the certificate of entry, replaced it with the Thailand pass. They're supposedly opening on the 1st of November, but the process takes a couple of days to get approval, and it's going to be available on the 1st of November. So Thailand's military government's not basically holding itself in good stead at the moment. Gentlemen, thanks for the brief. Appreciate it. And if we can all just stay online after Bhargav stops the recording.